Hello. Welcome to our program Spiritism Inspiring Lives. Today we will be reflecting a bit about happiness. We can start by questioning ourselves. Are we happy? What makes us happy? From which perspective of ourselves are we focusing on when we talk and reflect, analyze happiness? Do we know that we all are entitled to be happy? Is there a difference within the ego's state of happiness and the self state of happiness in our minds? Joanna de Angelis, the Enlightened Spirits, tells that you can and should be happy. This is your personal choice. In that way, we are already starting our moments of reflections, understanding that we carry within the power as a free choice to choose on a daily basis to develop real happiness. Surely, it is different for different people because we are not copy and paste of each other. We are unique, special, loving beings in essence. So, what makes us happy? Perhaps we can also start to reflect what are the causes of unhappiness so that we can reflect in developing real happiness, as we are all in a developing process. We are all essentially loving beings, yet imperfect, on the journey of perfecting ourselves. For instance, we can start to think about and analyze ourselves. Do I have the tendency to hate myself or others or the world or experiences? Is hate part of my inner self? Surely that shows that I'm unhappy, and therefore we can choose in the present to learn to love ourselves more and also love others, love life as experiences that the universe is granted to us. Perhaps we can also analyze ourselves, and if we find out that we are very worried all the time, that means that we are not happy. So we can start to be freer, incorporating new experiences in our lives that frees up our minds. Walking within nature, reading a good book, talking in a healthy way, and so many different options that we have available. And another option that we can reflect within ourselves when we are trying, or at least choosing, to conquer happiness, understanding that it is a gradual process, is learning to take less from life. Doing what then? Giving more to life. Giving more of ourselves, in terms of our time, in terms of our wisdom, in terms of our resources that we may have, choosing to shift from the position as a receiver to the giver. That promotes real happiness. Also, perhaps we may realize as we choose to analyze and be more in contact with ourselves that we may from our faces and choose then to gradually smile more in a natural way, even if it's not natural at the beginning. Bear in mind, we are here to train, to exercise. In English, we have a say, fake it until you make it. Smile more from within, in a gentle way, in a loving way, in an accepting way of ourselves and others. Another way that we also can reflect when we analyze happiness from the essential part of ourselves, the essence, the divine, sacred, the inner wisdom. Perhaps we may realize that we are talking. We are lacking inner silence. So we can choose to exercise ourselves to silence a bit more, to learn to listen to us, to learn to listen to others, opening inner space, which aims to bring us to the center, Perhaps we may be in a position that we fear life, we fear everything, we fear new experiences. So how about having our goal to develop real happiness, to face our fears? Try, put ourselves in the experiences more. Because quite often, when we do so, in transcending our own limitations or negativity, we will come out on the other side after we try it, with the understanding that actually it was not that difficult as we initially thought. Let's try more in superating ourselves, in allowing ourselves in new constructive, positive experiences that promotes our high self-esteem, our confidence, or understanding that we are capable, although we may fear a bit of fear, but we are capable to overcome it. That has a positive impact in our integral health. In our self-analysis, perhaps we will realize that we have the tendency to judge others, to criticize others, to gossip around, to slander around people's lives. Surely that is a tendency of someone who is unhappy. Once we realize that within ourselves, we may choose now to re-educate ourselves, to develop self-acceptance and acceptance of others. Because all of us will have difficulty in accepting others. That is an element of difficulty in accepting ourselves. Let's try. Let's promote the inner love, the inner freedom that comes through self-acceptance as loving beings, essentially as we are, despite of our limitations or shadows that perhaps we may temporarily bring with us, and we are choosing to overcome them. Perhaps another aspect that we may be realizing when we are unhappy is that we are in a position of sitting around and watching people's lives, watching life, and we are quite inactive. How about choosing to be more active in doing what we think we would like to do? Getting ourselves on the action level, advancing. Let's try. And perhaps we will also realize in this moment that we are relating with us and observing us that we are complaining a lot about experiences, life, marriages, family, and so on and so forth. Let's try and appreciate more ourselves, life, and every unique experiences that the universe presents us. Appreciate, meaning let's engage with the divine love within ourselves, or the unconditional love, as we may say, and choose to be more grateful, more thankful for our lives, for our existences, for our families, for our marriages, for our kids, for our work, for our home where we can live safely, for all the opportunities that the universe is giving to us as learners of ourselves, to learn, to be happy. Now, another aspect that we can also observe is that happy people, they hold healthy habits, such as people are planning their lives, while unhappy people may have unhealthy habits, such as procrastination. They decide that they want to do something on a mental level, but they procrastinate on the action level. And in that way, you are working against real happiness. So even if you realize the procrastination, let's give us new opportunities. Plan, go, and do it. Action. Happy people. Remember, happy people are not perfect people. They are essentially loving people, imperfect with their shadows on the journey of perfecting themselves as learners. So happy people, usually they have a habit of being organized. Organized does not mean perfection, but centeredness, groundedness. They know what they want. And usually people who are unhappy, therefore they carry the unhealthy habit of giving up. They think about, they don't go into it, they start one movement of organization, but then they fall back to the procrastination, the laziness. If that is our case, let's change that. We can do it. And another aspect also that happy people carry healthy habit is the habit of time management. They are quite confident within themselves and quite organized psychologically and emotionally. Therefore, they are very good in organizing their own time. It's a very healthy habit that we feel that we are more productive in our lives because it saves us time. We can do more in less time. While unhealthy habits, which usually is behind unhappiness, we may be wasting time without fulfilling our tasks. And another aspect, which is a healthy habit corresponding to healthy, happy people, is that they are more positive, more constructive, with more optimism in relation to themselves, in relation to their families, in relation to life. That does not mean there are no limitations, they are not challenging. They are just more creative inside, understanding what they can do, what they cannot do. This creativity of inner choice, freeing from the toxic negativity, while those who are unhappy, they usually have the unhealthy habit of negativity, of a lot of wasting time, a lot of worrying about and round in this negative, limited way. In that way, it is not possible to be happy, it's true. But we can change. We all can change. And another way also that we happy people have a healthy habit of constantly learning from our own mistakes. We don't feel ashamed. We don't feel guilty. We don't blame ourselves when we do mistakes. We accept them. We take responsibility and learn from them so that they don't repeat anymore. While unhappy people, through the unhealthy habit, they usually blame themselves. They suffer from the conflict, guilt conflict. And then again, they waste their psychic energy and get easily in a very toxic environment. Let's go out. We are all learners. We all learn through mistakes. Mistakes do not mean failure. It's only teaching us that the way that we engage in experience is not good. We can do better. And finding out which is the other option or the possibility. In that way, we are developing our intellectual intelligence, our emotional intelligence, our spiritual intelligence, and therefore we are really promoting real happiness. Happy people who are learners of themselves, they also have more confidence in themselves because they try. They don't procrastinate, neither get stuck as sometimes as with temporarily the negative habits may be paralyzed. So let's learn to trust in ourselves. Confidence comes from within when we allow ourselves to face the challenging experiences within the knowledge that we carry within high potentials, the virtuous aspects that we can exercise on a daily basis. And also another aspect which comes from a healthy habit that happy people carry within, they are natural leaders of themselves, not imposing anything on them or on others. But the natural leadership is the internal autonomy to choose mentally what your inner wisdom is telling you to do, and then choosing to go and act on it so that you feel that you are changing your mentality, changing the way your emotions respond, changing the way that you act. So you trust yourself, you know that you can do it. It's almost like that you become more assertive instead of not believing in yourself. Also, happy people, one of the healthy habits, they are goal-driven. They have purposes in life. Do we have our purpose in life? What is the meaning of our existence? Let's analyze honestly. And if we don't have, let's ask how. There are so many different resources that we can engage and find out what is our purpose in life. Because if I don't know what my purpose is, surely I'm not happy, I'm not working towards real happiness. If I don't have goals that fulfill myself from the higher self, the higher consciousness, I cannot be really, truly, fully happy. Really, truly, fully happy we can be even when we face challenges, as long as we are in a position as a learner. And also when we are happy within, one another healthy habit that we carry naturally is part of us. We are always ready to help, to cooperate for the good of ourselves, of our families, or community where we are. While the unhappy person is always complaining, never has time, always say, I cannot do it. Let's transcend our own limitations. We are capable. It is possible to learn to trust in yourself. Happiness also has to do with our inner higher faculties, such as learn to be honest with ourselves. A lot of elements of unhappiness is due to our own lies that we carry through our false belief systems, negative belief systems. We can always renew ourselves. We can always bear in mind that we have new choices. If we don't know, we read, we study, we seek therapy, we seek help. We seek perhaps a pathway of a spirituality, which is a proposal of self-enlightenment as well. Honesty, sincerity with ourselves, the conscious and unconscious mind, so that we don't have 2-3 different ways how to relate with us. It is fundamental to bring groundness within ourselves. Also, it's very important to develop happiness when we develop hope that we can promote ourselves. We can change, we can actualize ourselves. Hope, understanding that the challenging moments are transitory. They go by sooner or later. But while we are facing challenges, we can change our inner mind. We can change the way that we think about it. And that brings hope. Hope, especially from a holistic, transpersonal perspective, that all the experiences are temporary. The most certain aspect in life is change. So as more as we stimulate our minds in terms of being more progressive, more optimistic, more holistic, more creative from within, less the challenging experience will last in our existences. Let's develop also the rational faith, which we conquer in acting with more honesty, with more sincerity, within the aspects that previously we referred to, that we are developing. Also, it's important to develop courage, to go beyond where we are, allowing ourselves to get out of the comfort zone. Usually, a lot of unhappiness comes from the insistence and persistence to stay in the comfort zone. Remember what I just said. The most certain things in conquering real happiness is getting out, is transcending the comfort zone, renewing ourselves. And another aspect also, which is very important for us to consider and promote within ourselves, is willingness to develop the willpower to be good with ourselves. The willpower to constantly nourish our minds with constructive, positive, realistic thoughts. Why is that important? Because the way that we think is the way that we will end up feeling. Another aspect in order to conquer real happiness is fundamental to learn to be humble. Humble is the greatest power of the soul, where we recognize our strengths and our weak points, but we do not identify ourselves with our weak points. Those are elements that we are constantly changing. Another element as we develop real happiness is expanding, loving brotherhood. And why is that? Because in changing ourselves constantly, we are expanding love within. We are overriding our old memory, what does not correspond to the essence of ourselves. Because we will end up understanding we are all brothers and sisters in humanity. Therefore, any prejudice is a false belief system. So as more as we love ourselves as unique, valuable human beings in the universe, we also gradually extend that to other brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter which race, creed, sexuality. No one is better because we are heterosexual or homosexual. We are all loving beings. Can I feel that already? If not, let's nourish ourselves in that direction, because that is the route, the way for happiness. Also, what usually we have very strongly within when we are happy, developing real happiness, is a consequence of self-discipline. We already are stronger because we exercised, and if we are not there yet, we can do that on a daily basis. To discipline our thoughts. We may perceive the negative ones, but we will make effort not to allow them to dominate our conscious mind. We use a positive one, such as, I'm a valuable human being, I love myself, I accept myself, I'm promoting, I'm growing, I'm learning, I can learn anything gradually. Let's try that. Also, what is important for us to reach a constant, more happy way of being as learners, it is to persist in our higher goals. It's not just to start and then give up. It is to persist. Persist and insist in accepting ourselves, in loving ourselves, in disciplining ourselves, in establishing goals and go and fulfill them. Another aspect that usually is an element of real happiness is spiritual awareness. Do we have any spiritual awareness? Do we have any interest to search for it? There are so many different pathways that we can. You know why that is so important to conquer real happiness? Because essentially we are spiritual beings. And as more as we evolve, more we become aware of that inner wisdom that we bring within. And in doing so, all these steps that we suggest, and so many others there still are that we won't have time today to do so, but if you already practice the ones that we mentioned, guess what? What will be the result? More self-love, more happiness, more service. We are agents of service, of goodness, within and through us, wherever we are. And as more as we serve towards the goodness for all, in our families, beyond them, in our communities, in our workplace, as more as we do that, happier we will end up being. So as we come into the end of our reflection tonight, let's invest in being happier, in choosing to relate within ourselves from a more healthier way. Yes, we do have shadows, but yes, we also have the elements to transcend them as long as we are deciding to overcome them. Unless we try, we keep in the same place and probably unhappy. We can choose right now to establish the goal of conquering real happiness right now, from within where we are. So our relationship with ourselves is promoted constantly and renewed. And in that way, we also are impacted in a healthy way. The collective, either our family or society, wherever we are part of, believing in ourselves, that we are essentially loving beings and we have been created by God, the creator of everything and everyone, in order to be happy. It is our personal choice. Trust the process, today and always. I wish you well, and good luck.